All right. Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Thanks for joining my live stream. Let's go. So let's pop the chat out over here so I can see what you're writing. Hi. Hi, Hammer. Thank you for joining. Hi, Quad4. Thank you for joining. I don't understand the question. Where do I start? I'm not sure what you mean. Hi, Jens from Germany. How are you doing? Uncle Bob. Hi. New person here. Hi from Everett, Washington. Chris, hi from Germany. Thanks for joining. We have some music. Yeah, starting. Okay. Hi, Joanne from the Netherlands. Thanks for joining. That's good. Hammer about poly texture. I don't know how to do that, to be honest. I'm not quite sure. I know the effect, of course, where you have like this polygon look, but I'm not exactly sure how you would do that. Either you use an effect that is applying that to the photo, or you have to do it painstakingly by hand by creating these vector triangles. But that's a lot of work. And this is just like you create triangles. So you can just watch any other tutorial for that and create these vector shapes. Or like I said, any kind of filter, it maybe makes it automatically if that gives good results. I don't know. Hi, Jean-Paul from Belgium. Hi, how are you doing? Very nice to have you. So today it's about photography, a little bit different, but we also will do a little bit of photo editing. Quadfir says, my question disappeared. I have no experience with any graphic software and ask, where do I start? By watching tutorials, I would say, right? I mean, you have to think about what kind of thing you want to do, and then maybe ask some people online what kind of software is good for that, right? Because you use different software for photo adjustment, photo editing, graphic design, publishing, digital painting, vector design, stuff like that. 3D graphics, of course, another software again, so it's very different. Hi, Robert from Vienna. Thanks for joining. Hi, Deborah from the USA. Berkeley Springs. Hi, that's nice. Hi, Diana from Ireland. Thanks for joining. Okay. Also, thank you everybody who is taking part in the September of photography, which is part of like a month-long challenge in my group this month. I will post you the link to the group where you can join if you want to. It's of course free. It's a Facebook group. And by the way, to reiterate that, to understand the concept of that challenge. The idea is that you take photos every day and then you select one of these photos that you've taken on that day and post it under the post that I share for that day. So The post is there, of course, to keep everything a little bit more organized. And it's still important that you're not just choosing a photo that you have taken some time before and just post it on that day. That is not what this is about, because everybody of us has thousands of photos, and just choosing one doesn't really help you to get into a habit or to think more about your photography, stuff like that. So you should actually take photos on that day. Maybe take half an hour or something, or maybe when you walk home from work or something else, you go out with your dog for a stroll, you can take some pictures. You can take your camera, you can take your smartphone, doesn't really matter what kind of camera it is. And what kind of photo you take doesn't matter either. It's more about thinking about what kind of photos you do, and also developing a little bit of an eye for photography, because a lot of that is experience, right? There's a little bit of technique, there is some rules on what you can do and some rules on how to use the equipment, but you can do it in any way you want, basically. And more important is the experience, and then over time you see in what kind of direction you go, what kind of things interest you, and you can then deepen the knowledge in that area, for example, right? To find some online courses, stuff like that, if you want to. Hi, Mitsim, how are you doing? I'd like to know an easy way to add an effect or adjustment to just one layer without it affecting other layers. You can just drag that adjustment onto that layer, and then it should actually just affect that layer. Or you could also create a mask for that area in the picture if you want to, but dragging it onto that layer should just affect that layer, actually, right? Yeah, it's about, yeah, that's right, Deborah. It's about creating a habit to take pictures, and I think you will fairly quickly see what kind of things you're interested, or what kind of things you take anyways, right? For example, when I started to take photos for the challenge, I didn't even think about photographing a landscape or a sunset or something like that, because apparently I don't have much interest in that, right? My photos are mostly more concept driven, right? And so I search for some other things that I find interesting to photograph and see what can I do with that, like buildings or other things, to think about that, right? I find it's a good way to look for little stories that are happening around you. That's kind of an easy access, maybe, if that's the kind of photography you want to do. So it's always based on what do you actually want to do with your pictures. But looking around you and seeing where are there different stories or things or dynamics or energies happening around you. So story is more like a word that can happen, that can be true for a lot of different things, basically. But you know what I mean. You know, something that is interesting and that you want to show to other people, maybe is connected to an emotion or something like that, right? Yeah. Okay. I have Affinity Photo Designer and Publisher. Well, then you're set up in a pretty good way. So you can do a lot of these things, from design to publishing to like layout is basically what the publisher software does. Digital painting, also stuff like that. And then just see what you want to do and see what kind of videos are on there. You can just search on YouTube and see if you find videos that address the topics you want to learn. Try to start simple, try to learn the fundamentals first, the concepts, the basics, and then go into complex things, because this is what most people do wrong. They want to start right at the end, basically, at the most complex work, because they saw something online and think, oh, that's cool, I want to do the same thing. But of course, taking on such a big project takes a lot of experience, and also when you're overwhelmed with all these different tasks and all the different things that are involved, so it's better to just focus on smaller things at the beginning and try to get them right. Okay. Hi, Simon from Beijing in China. Really? You're there right now? That's pretty cool. I have never been in China. I want to visit. I think it's really very, very cool, and of course very, very big. So lots of different things to see. Photos pre and post processing. Are these photos to pre and post processing? I don't understand the question. You have to rephrase that. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Chris says, I like to photograph weird things I can maybe use in my compositions, like my cat astronaut or the toaster photo from today. Oh, pretty cool. That's interesting, right? By the way, there's this kind of thing. This is also interesting. I was thinking about that today. Basically, if you use photography as an art form, as a creative output, there's a lot of things you can do wrong, but there is not anything you can do right. And it sounds a little bit counterintuitive. Why is there not something you can do right? Because if you do it just as a creative outlet, as an art form, as an expression of yourself, there is not one right way to do that, even if people try to tell you that. And even if they say, wow, this is not how you should photograph, this is not how you should edit, this is not how you use that tool. Why not if you want to, right? Like imagine, for example, you're a painter and you use your fingers to paint, and you use like these cheap colors from the supermarket like children do, and you paint like that. And then someone comes along and says, but look at that, like super realistic painting, or look at Rembrandt, or look at blah blah, these kind of painters. That is painting, that is art. Why is that art? You know, you can do it in a completely different way, and maybe some years along the line this is what people will do, right? You don't have to follow other rules if you do it for your own sake, if you do it for your own expression, right? If you have to fit into a pipeline, that's a different story. If you're a photographer for weddings, or if you're a photographer for advertisement or stuff like that, and you have to follow a process, you have to follow that brand image or whatever, then you have to do it in a certain way so it fits and the other people who work with you can work with these materials. But if you work for yourself, do whatever you want. There's no rules. There's no things you have to do, right? At the same time, there's a lot of things you can do wrong. So you should still do exercise and training and try to get better all the time, right? That's pretty important at the same time. Okay. For the contest you mentioned, I'm a little bit lost. Are these photos to pre or post processing? Oh, I know what you mean. Okay. So in the challenge, you can adjust the image and you can crop the image so it looks nicer, but don't make a photo composite or something else. It should still just be the photo, but of course you can adjust the colors and the contrast and stuff to make it nicer and tell the story you want to tell with that. But it's not a challenge for compositions or like other things, composites, sorry, not compositions. Yeah, so photos, but you can adjust them, right? Okay, let's look at some pictures maybe, unless you want to look more at my beautiful face. That is very shiny. Wait a second. Let me put on some makeup. Yes, the show world. This is the show world. Basically, the makeup only has the purpose that you don't shine so much, right? So it's the difference between a piece of paper and a mirror is the diversion of light, right? And so this is what this does, is basically it takes away the shininess of your skin and you look a little bit more, how can I say, better to the camera and easier to the light setup. There we go. That's a bit better. All right, cool. So let's switch over to, by the way, I haven't edited my photo today. So I will do that in the live stream, basically. Okay, let me switch over here to, where do we have that? Boom, there's the next scene. There we go. Okay. All right. Oh, by the way, another thing that wait a second, let me switch again back before we get started. So, about the creative pack. I have finished recording all of the videos for the online course today, and I started cutting them, but I haven't finished cutting them. It's not too much work. I just have to adjust the sound and cut the beginning and the end, because I made the recording so everything is good in the video, so that shouldn't take too much time, but I didn't finish today with that. And yeah, it just took a much longer time than I intended. And the reason also why it took longer, maybe that's interesting for you, is first my idea was that I wanted to create a collection of presets for cinematic looks in Affinity Photo that already like finished, made, so you can use that, you can just apply them to your photos and you have all the layers in there. So it's basically Affinity photo files with all the adjustment layers in there with the setup, and you just push your picture in there, and then you can readjust it a little bit so it fits better to your photo. But I wasn't happy with that for the reason that if we talk about these cinematic looks, it's more about your kind of expression. What do you want to put into that? And also understanding better what is that actually, and what is the color theory behind that, and what is the concept? Why are photos edited in that way? And also why are films edited in that way, right? And so I thought an online course is probably better, where I explain all these things and I explain the tools that I'm using. This is also, by the way, very beginner friendly, because I explain the tool. I hope I explain the tool very good and very like, how do you say? Well, what's the right word for that? Like I try to explain how the tool works. For example, how curves work, what the different parts are in this curve adjustment. Then I explain how to use it to create different looks for color grading, stuff like that, and also other tools. And this is just why it took longer, because I started to make the product and I thought, it's not a good idea. And then I started to record the course, which was a lot more work than I expected. Anyways, there we go. Switchy, there we go. Okay, there we are in Facebook again. Also, let me have a look at the chat. One quick look-see here. And also, I took a little bit time off. What is that? Deborah says, you look fine. Thank you very much. Jens says, glitter, you need some... Glitter, that would be a good idea. But it's very messy. It's like, it's so hard to get out of things. Maybe that bio glitter, that is sugar that melts over some time. It's biodegradable, right? Application. What do you mean with application? I'm not sure what that is saying. Anyways, so here we have these posts, and maybe let me click here on my name so I see only my posts, and then we can go through them. Another thing, by the way, this is a course that I have done, I think, last year. And you can get that course right now for the cheapest price ever. It's just $10. It was usually $60. Now it's just $10. Wait, let me quickly open this up so I can actually show you the link in the chat, because this is actually pretty good. It's very, very nice on how this is. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was a little bit confused by that. This is it. You see, it's 13 videos. 53 minutes of course, and then also the source materials, and it's basically it's about this picture, how to get it from this to that. Sorry, it's a little bit like blurry because the resolution is not high enough. It's just a preview from the shop page, but this is basically adjusting all of that and putting, as you can see, also the additional leaves in that. So it's really cool, and it's autumn themed. And you can do it with a lot of different pictures. So if you do a lot of, like, for example, child photography or stuff like that, that is a pretty cool course for that. That is very, very nice for that. Okay, let me put this in here into the chat. Where's the chat? There we go. Magical Autumn Light, I think it's called. Why does it just say Autumn Photo Edit Course? Interesting. But it says up here, Magical Autumn Light. Okay, so this is the link to the course. Have a look at that. And then let's go back to our posts here. What is this? Replaced. Oh, yeah, the weekly challenge. We didn't have a weekly challenge this week. Oh, these are the other ones I have already set up. Okay, let's start here with the 1st of September. And you can also see why I say my photos are a bit more conceptual most of the time. This is actually for today. Oh, there are some people have already posted. That's pretty cool. Okay, nice. Good. This is for tomorrow. Already set up, scheduled, as they say. Okay, and it's really, really nice that so many people took part here. You can see 56 comments. It's really awesome. If you still want to post on these days, that is still possible. The only thing is you have to take the photo on that day. But if you have taken a photo on that day, but just didn't have time to post it on that day, you can go back and post it on that day. That is no problem at all, right? The only important thing is it has to be from that day. And you can see here we have a lot of pictures in here. I will not show all of them because it's just too many. But you can see we have some pretty interesting things. Some are more abstract and some are more, like this, for example, is more like a minimalist approach to an image, but still very cool, very interesting. And this is another, like, nature picture, so that's also very nice with the butterfly. Really cool shot. So this is also interesting to see that there is a lot of different approaches in the photography. Some are very confusing, like this one here from Joseph. I'm not sure what you wanted to photograph with that, but it's there. It's at least you took a photo, right? By the way, this is a really important thing to remember, and this is something I often do wrong myself. Look at this. This is also pretty cool. If you have a shot and you're not sure if you should take the shot, always take the shot, because there is a very, very high likeliness that you will never get the chance again to take that shot. So if you see something and you have the camera in your hand, just take it, right? You can still delete that picture, that is no problem, but to get that chance back, and I had that so often in my life that I thought, oh, that would be cool, and then I thought, maybe next time, maybe I come back in 5 minutes and do it or something like that. Or no, just take the picture. Take the picture, and then even if you think maybe that's not a good photo, even if you think maybe that's not something you should take, still take the photo. It's better to delete the picture than to lose the chance of taking a good photo. This one is really cool because it's also an artwork at the same time. Also, I like the editing where everything is black and white and then just the artwork is standing out. I think they would even put it on their website, right, from the gallery, I think. This is a really nice artwork also. This kind of, these basically, how do you say, religious? No. Well, how would you call that? Like these rays of light that are spiritual. I don't know how you would call that, but that's pretty cool. I like the artwork, and I also like the photo and the editing. So that's very cool. There's also some more conceptual stuff. This is very strange here. I think this is a hood of a car here. I'm not quite sure. It's a bit mysterious, and also it's upside down, which adds to the mystery. So really, really interesting. There's a lot of interesting concepts in here, right? A dead fly. That's also great. There's so many interesting things out there to be photographed. And as you can see, everything can be a photo. There is nothing where it isn't worth taking a photo of if you're interested in that. You see here we have some, how do you call them? In German we say Wäscheklammer, which is a clothing clamp. I'm not sure how you would say that in English. What does the chat say, by the way? Hi, Stefan from Slovenia. Thanks for joining. Hi, Hugo from Sachsen-Anhalt. Thanks for joining. Pretty awesome. By the way, Jonathan has posted this, and he said he wanted to create some brushes like I've shown in my video. I would really suggest when you do that, for example, that you paint that you paint black on a white background or something else that has more contrast, because otherwise it's really hard to create a selection out of that, right? If this would be black paint on a white paper, it's very easy to select this, but now it's very complicated. You have to basically do a complex hand selection for that. Also, the picture should be as sharp as possible and have as much detail in it as possible, right? So you can create a nice brush. These landscape pictures, that is pretty difficult. It's difficult to do a good landscape picture, especially if you have a landscape that is, well, how can I say, doesn't have amazing features, you know? Like sometimes you have amazing mountains or a waterfall or something that is easier to photograph. But if you have something like this, just an open field, really hard to make a good picture, right? I find it very difficult myself. This is also nice from Sabine. Oh, there's my picture here. So this is my first picture that I took. I also edited the picture a little bit. This is a famous house. It's called the Dominik House in Vienna. I can show you how it actually looks. 1 second. So this is the house. It's near me. It's very nice, actually. They're renovating it right now a little bit. And I took about 70 pictures of that house. So this is also another thing to point out is don't worry about when you take a lot of pictures and most of them are not good. That doesn't matter. The most important thing is you get the experience and you look at the pictures afterwards. So also don't delete pictures in your camera. Keep them, look at them at the big screen, because first of all, at the big screen, they look different. But also secondly, you want to look at the pictures and see if they are actually good or bad, because sometimes pictures that look bad on the small screen actually look really interesting on a bigger screen, right? And you can still delete them when they are at home, but maybe you're throwing away something that would have been good, and you never know. So here I had this one, and this is more of this. I wanted to have a photo that has a nice perspective that puts everything into this kind of wave motion, like it's flowing. The surface is like, you know, like a wave at the sea. And also I wanted to have these nice organic, how can I say, elements, structures on the edge, in contrast to the sky in the background, so they stick out and you can actually see these nice round bumps that are looking out of that, even giving even more flow to that motion. So yeah, that's it's kind of interesting. All right, so yeah, we have a lot. This was also very cute here with the cat. I never thought about having like a stuffed like puppet cat and then putting it into a blanket. That's very cute actually. And probably also easier to keep than a real cat. Makes less dirt. There's a lot of other pictures here, some conceptual pictures, pretty cool. So there's so many stuff. Black and white editing is really cool. And I mean, also play around with the editing of the images, right? Here's another black and white image, because there's so many things you can do with that. And this is also why I would say try to clothes spin, really? That's what they are called? Interesting. Try out different software, because especially creative software like Nik Collection, like Gimmick plugin, like what else is there? The Topaz creative plugin, stuff like that, because they can give you a lot of different ideas and insights on how a photo can look, what you can do with a photo, what it can transform into, right? So yeah, it gives you a lot of opportunity to have different perspectives, because if you start blank like an Affinity photo and have to figure out it on your own way, you have to work your way to an end result, which is a lot harder than seeing the end result and then work backwards from that and try to integrate that style into your own work, right? So it's kind of, yeah, it's just easier. You get inspired by the work of others, right? Which is also a great source always, to be inspired by other people. There's some pretty cool pictures here also with these. And like I said, I'm not looking at all of the pictures. This is very nice here. I like that with the nice warm light here in the foreground and the clouds in the background. These are some pictures that make me question if this was actually taken on that day. If you're right now at that location because this is so special, maybe you are. Maybe you're living there. That might be cool. But sometimes I'm a little bit puzzled if that is actually the case. So you can see there's a lot of stuff. Look through that on your own. This is a very nice edit here. Really like that. The dark colors and then the nice glowing flower that has this softness also in the texture. Very, very cool. Okay. Let's go here to the second day, look through that a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Like, sometimes you don't want to leave your house, make a photo at home, right? That's also okay. It adds to your experience. You can think about what kind of perspective could be cool. What could I photograph at home? In what way could I do that? So that is still exercise that you're doing, right? And like with sports, if you want to stay fit, also with arts, you have to stay in shape and train, right? As often as you can. So this is also what I like about this exercise, that I also now get to go outside and take photos every day. Let's approve some people maybe in the chat right now. Who knows? Let's go on here. There we also have some portrait shots. Very nice. Really cool. So yeah, it's really cool what the people are editing. Sometimes you have nice coincidences, like the flowers and the cat kind of looking up to the flowers. So that's pretty cute that this kind of thing happens. By the way, this reminds me about something I also wanted to tell you. Think about also a series of pictures you could take, right? Not only, not every photo has to be an individual picture. You can take a series of photos and then you maybe can put them as a collage afterwards, or just hang them up or show them to people in a series that builds on each other. That could be really interesting, right? Or photographing details to give an overview of the situation, right? Of the place, Wait, let me show you a little example here, because I really like to do stuff like that. 1 second, I have to go into my photos here. 1 second, let me see if I see something like that. Quick example that is nice. Give me 1 second. There's a lot of them here right now, but I'm trying to find someone that's a good example. I mean, we could... yeah, let's just have a look at that maybe here. It's a little bit small, sorry for that. But you can see here, like, we have a collage of these 3 guys on the spice market in Delhi, so that's nice. It doesn't always have to be individual photos, and then you combine it afterwards. And the good thing is that people can look at 3 pictures at the same time and also get a kind of impression of what it was to be there. And that is often, you see, at the same time, it's more focused on these 3 guys rather than photographing the complete area, the complete place. And at the same time, it gives you an impression of what was going on there. Let me see, I have some other pictures here. That's the museum. Don't want to look at that. No. Yeah, like this. Okay, this is a little bit small. I'm sorry for that. Wasn't there another one that was a little bit cooler like that? Wow, these are quite small here. I'm not sure if you can see that. But these kind of combinations, I really like that. You see? So you have like an alley and then this kind of... I'm not sure what that is. It's not a temple, I think. And then you have this store here. So you get kind of an overview, you get a feeling for the space where you're at. So this is also another way to think about photography. Not for that contest. I'm not talking about the contest right now. I'm talking about photography in general. It can be a series. It can be connected to other pictures. That is what I mean by that. I lost my chat. Where is it? There we go. I now have your autumn photo course and the light overlay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Good luck with that. Enjoy that. I hope that is it's pretty beginner friendly, so I hope you have a good time with that. You should have. All right. So there's a lot of other images here. What is this? That looks interesting. Okay. It's some chipped wood, I would say. Pretty cool. All right, so yeah, lots of interesting photos here. This was very cool, but it's also very dark. Maybe, I mean, you can leave it like that, but I maybe would suggest brightening it up a tiny bit because it's very dark, but still cool, right? Very nice. I can see also these kind of perspectives, also always nice to have kind of an angle. Also with the depth of field here, you focus on these, I don't know what they are called, but yeah. That's pretty awesome. All right, so many pictures here. Oh, some good food. Also very nice. So there's all kinds of reasons and ways to take photos, right? Here's more like a staged one with the Lego man, which is also pretty cool. He's kind of gathering some mushrooms, so that's awesome. And you can just take a photo of your food too. So any kind of picture, any kind of style is good, right? Doesn't have to be a special thing. Oh, there's my picture for that day. Which is more like a darker picture. I edited a lot, so it wasn't quite that dark, but it was already pretty dark. And this was kind of, I think this was the last photo I took on that day. I was walking around and taking a lot of pictures of this brick stone house, which is really nice. And then when I got dark and the lights went on in the house, I thought, hey, that would be cool. That is a nice atmosphere. And afterwards I edited to pronounce that more, get more difference between the dark outside and then the nice orange lights in the windows, or this kind of cozy warm light. And also the difference in color from the blue and the orange is giving you kind of a idea of, okay, outside it's cool and it's not so cozy, and then inside you kind of want to go inside because of the nice light that is coming from there, right? So there's also a little bit of a story, a little bit of emotion also connected to that, right? Oh, usually there's a little detail here, pretty cool. Evolution or creation, find out with an arrow here. So that's pretty cool. Very nice little detail. I wonder if you made that or if you found that. But either way, it's pretty nice. Some very extreme editing here, but why not? If that is your style, it's also good. Okay, this is also a very nice picture here. Wow, with all these train tracks here. Pretty crazy. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities here. There's another abstract one. Pretty cool. I like how the background is. I'm not sure if this is artificial light, like a TV screen with all these colors, or if this is during daylight maybe, and this is your garden in the background. Very nice, pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Let's have a look at the other days. Should we look through all the pictures? I can also show you just my pictures or something. I'm not sure. Let me know in the chat. Hi, David from The Haag? The Haag or Den Haag? The heck? What? Okay. Anyways. And then also I have to edit the picture for today. I also, by the way, I can show you the before and after a little bit. I hope I have that still. And by the way, I edited some of the pictures in Lightroom because I did these comparisons between Lightroom and Photolab and Affinity Photo and other software tools to see like Capture One, stuff like that. And I really take a liking to how you work with Lightroom because they have done a lot of improvements, and also a lot of these adjustments work in a different way than they do in other software tools. That is really interesting. And the interesting thing about that is that how can I phrase that? The sliders and the adjustments work in the way that you intuitively would expect or want to change in the picture rather than what the slider would naturally do, if you know what I mean by that, right? I think I have also shown this in my last stream, where in Lightroom, when you adjust shadows, it's actually just the shadows, while in other softwares it's often the darker parts of the pictures are the shadows. Everything that's darker is the shadows, which actually it isn't, as we know. And in Lightroom, it is picking up just the shadows as you understand as a person's shadows. It's not the dark areas, it's not the blacks of the picture, it's the shadows in the image. That's really interesting, and I have a lot of adjustments like that. Saturation works like that, vibrance works like that, a lot of other things too. Also with color adjustment, it kind of works like that. So it moves the things in the way you want to move them, not what technically they would do like they do in other programs. And that makes a lot of things easier. It also limits you at the same time. This is also interesting, and this is why you can often see in photos that they have been edited with Lightroom, because these sliders and the way they are set up and the way they function lead you to that Lightroom look automatically, right? And to these Lightroom specific colors, these kind of Adobe colors, right? So that's also interesting. Anyways, I imported all of them in here. So wait a second, this is not all of them. This is just the photos of today. So I just want to show you a little bit of the before and after maybe for these two photos. Where is that one? Do I have an original version here? I'm not sure. Is this the original? No, this is a black and white version. So you can also see I did different versions of that. So this is a more pink version, a more blue version, even more blue version, pink and blue version, teal version, a very pink and blue version, and a black and white version, which was also nice, but I didn't decide on that. None of them is the original, so let me make a virtual copy here and then reset that one. Let's reset this one. 1 second. Boom. So this is actually what the original looks like. And the interesting thing also is here, let me see if I can find that again. 1 second. There we go. So this is the picture. When you compare these two in here, so this is as the original. Can we make this a little bit bigger maybe? Yes, we can. Okay, good. Also up here, good. So, oh, come on. You can see that the surface of the building is actually a lot softer. You don't see that dirt as much, and also you can see that the lights, the different colors of the lights are much closer together in the original photo. You don't have these blue and orange tones sticking out so much at you. And also the contrast to the horizon is not as pronounced as in my editing. And so these are all different kind of thoughts and ideas that went into this picture, because first I looked at that structure of the building. And that is really interesting. I like the organic flow and the elements and this kind of wave structure. But then also I saw all this dirt and soot and whatever that is sticking on the top of the building. And I thought that is really cool because it pronounces these structures, and it also has this kind of industrial dirtiness feel to it that is a nice contrast to the organic flow of the architecture on its own, right? And so this is why I pronounce that a lot with clarity and with texture, which is separate in Lightroom, by the way. It's also interesting. And then also pushed the contrast between these warmer tones here. This is actually the reflection of the house on the other side. It's not the sunset light or whatever. And then these kind of bluer lights, which I pushed a little bit into the direction of having this, how do you say? Blue hour, basically, right? This kind of tone. Yeah, so there's a lot of different concepts, and you can see that the original picture is quite different, and the original picture is interesting, but not as exciting, not as like telling, right, from the story. So a lot of what you do with the picture is, and this is also why I wanted to do this online course for color grading that I hopefully have, well, basically I will publish it on Tuesday because I can't make a video on Monday. Anyways, a lot of what the photo is the decisions you make after you take the photo. So taking the photo is really important, and being a good photographer through experience and also through learning the skills in the direction, in the way you want, and to become better the artist you want to be. That is very important. But then a really big chunk, a really big part of the artistic expression, that is happening in the editing afterwards. And I was also thinking about, especially also for the course, why is that so important? Why is that such a big story in photography? And I found that the big difference between what you photograph with the camera, this one, and what you create as your work, this one, is that the picture that is taken by the camera is just taking a picture of the world as it is. And reality, the world around us, everything around us is just there. It exists. No matter if you're there or not, if you like it or not, if you think about it or not, it's just there. It doesn't have specific purpose for you in your life. You know what I mean? But as an artwork, you put purpose into a world that doesn't have a purpose on its own. So you find that purpose and then you put it into, through the editing, through the colors, also of course through the composition. So this is basically the first step with your camera setup, with the choice of the composition, how you want to take that photo. And then by editing and adding all these colors and stories and textures and all these kind of things to that, you give purpose to something that is actually without purpose originally, and that makes it into an artwork from just something that is standing there, right? So that is why that process is really important. Thank you very much, Monty. It's called the Dominic House. If you ever come to Vienna, you should check that out. It's actually near my home. All right, let's go on to the next one. What was the next one? I can't remember. This one. Oh yeah, this one. So you can see now how it actually looked, and I think I edited this in Photolab actually. I think I did it in Lightroom a little bit, and then I went over to Photolab to do some additional editing. Oh wait a second, I think I also did some versions here with Nik Collection. Where do I have that? Did I not import that maybe? I think that is over in Photolab. We can open that up real quick. Give me a second, so I can open that up for you. There's Photolab, and then in the meantime we can search for the picture. You can see how many pictures I took of that building, all that kind of stuff, all these kind of ideas of okay, there's like these nice windows here and stuff, and then this front here and this corner shot. There was a church also, so there's a lot of stuff. And then, like I said, whoops, no, that's not what I meant. The last pictures I took are actually here from that front. And you can see, I think is this the unedited version? Oh, no, it's not the unedited version, but it's basically the same shot. So you can see this is the original. It was a little bit brighter still outside. And by the way, I love my camera. I have now, through all this kind of also going out every day, a lot more connection to that, using it every day. So that is really cool to, because I was really, first of all, I was really unhappy with the lens that I have, which is the 24x70, because I thought it's too narrow. And then I made a comparison of that lens to my old lens from the APS-C camera, which has an 18mm, right, which is the normal kit lens, right? And I thought that is wider, but it's actually not wider, which I knew because 24 for APS-C is actually 15. So it has to be wider, but it felt too narrow. And it was kind of psychological, right? I was kind of, for psychological reasons, unhappy with that lens. But now that I know it's wider and it has the same potential, and it actually has a lot more potential than the other lens, because of course the other lens is a lot cheaper. I really like it, and I'm getting more into the habit to work with that lens, which is really nice. And it's not an easy lens to do for these kind of street photos or building photos, but at the same time, yeah, cool. I'm starting to really get into working with that lens, so that's pretty cool. That looks as messy as yours. Yeah, I even deleted some symbols today from there, some icons that I really don't need. Oh, there we go. So here you can see you have some other pictures from that building. I just took a bunch of pictures from all kinds of perspectives here. So that is very nice. But I wanted to show you, oh yeah, this one here. Look at that. So here we have this photo. This is also one that I considered for the photo of the day, because you have all these windows that have this light gray, and then one here is darker. And I thought I could pronounce that, I could work with that. So I added that so all of the pictures, all of the windows look the same, and then make this one really dark and really pronounced, and this kind of breaks the pattern of the other windows. But then I like the other one a lot more. I would recommend that you a little software fences. With this, you can organize your desktop very nice. The little software fences. I have to look into that. Actually, I like my desktop because I have a lot more software, which I have down here in the search button, and then I only have the buttons up here, the icons up here that I need. And also, it looks so messy. You have to keep in mind, when I stream, I have to switch over my screen to 1080p. So this is why there are so many icons on that screen, because usually you have a 4K resolution, kind of 4K. I'm not sure if it's actually 4K, but of course the icons are much smaller, so most of the screen is free. So it's not as messy as it looks. Anyways, so this is the original picture, basically, and then we have these versions here. Look at that. And this is what I love about Photolab. Sorry, not Photolab. About Nik Collection. These are... I think this is the filter for classic camera, analog effects, I think, or it's Silver Versa, but I'm pretty sure it's analog effects, where it simulates these old cameras, and different cameras also, not just old cameras. You have old paper cameras, you have old wet plate cameras, stuff like that. You have toy cameras, modern old cameras, which is also a thing, basically, right? Modern black and white cameras, different styles. And look at that, like how different that picture is. And how much of a different expression it has. And this is a really interesting process to go through your own pictures and see how much they change, because it is a big difference if you look at other pictures and then try to do the same, or if you experiment with your own pictures in the different ways you can edit. So let's have a look at them. So this is the first one, which I really like, and it gets rather flat. That is also what I really enjoy. And you see all this this blur around that. It looks like it's taken with this, like a shoebox camera, stuff like that, you know. This is more modern, looks really nice. And then we have this, even more crazy, even more destroyed, even more dirty and gritty on the outside, even more flat than the other one, also brighter. Another really cool character here from the expression. I enjoy that so much, these different kind of styles of what you can do with these effects. And here's another one. This is also, again, more modern. And this has this kind of H.R. Giger style, you know, like from Alien, that kind of thing. So you see how much that building also transforms when you think about it, when you look at it. This looks a lot more sci-fi. It looks a lot more dystopian than the other picture that, for example, that I've chosen for the end result, because actually there's a beautiful organic structure as the building, but here it looks very much like, I don't know, a monster hive or something like that. Very different. And a kind of a clash of a monster hive and an industrial complex, right? So it's really, really interesting. Is there more? Oh, well, this is more like this modern black and white style, which is sharper and crisper and doesn't have that much grit around it, but at the same time it just has this nice structure. By the way, let me make some self-advertisement here, because I created actually a pack for that picks up, that is a lot inspired by that. Let me find that real quick so I can show it to you, because that is really cool. And that was really a passion project too. 1 second. I have to find that. Is it this one? I think it is. 1 second. New tab. Oh, okay. This doesn't have even previews. That's interesting. Is there there's no preview here? That's interesting. 1 second. Let me check. Maybe this is a different one. Did I do more than one black and white pack? I kind of think it has to be that one. Let me check real quick, because that is really, really cool. 5 black and stunning photos. Let's have a look here. No, I think it has to be this one. Yes, that's it. Oh, that's so good. Look at that. This is highly inspired by Nik Collection, and the kind of styles that I've created with that. So yeah. Look at that. Pretty cool. Oh, nice. Also some styles in there that the Nik Collection does not have. Yeah, anyways. Let me copy you a link for that. 1 second. Why is this loading so slow right now? I'm sorry. Copy link address. There we go. Where's the chat? There's the chat. So there we go. Black and white super styles. Really, really nice. Wow, why is this so long? There you go. Okay. What camera are you using? I'm using a Sony a7 III, and with that I'm using a Sigma art lens 24 to 70 2.8, and I also have a 85mm Sigma art lens, I think 1.4. Is that what it is? Pretty sure 1.4. Maybe it's 1.8. I'm not quite sure right now. But they are very, very good. I'm really, really happy with them. And they are a lot cheaper than the G Master lenses from Sony, but they are actually a tiny bit better, at least for photography. I'm not sure about videos. Anyways, I think, yeah, this is all the different things I created here. So that's pretty cool as playing around with the Nik Collection. Anyways, let's get back here. Yeah, again, you can see how dramatically the picture has changed from the original scene. And this is also the thing. This also is a little bit complex when you think about photography, is that when you take the photo, think about the potential the picture has when you edit it afterwards rather than the picture you're taking right now. Because when you look at that, it doesn't look that amazing, even as the picture right out of the camera. But when you edit it and make something with it, it transforms into something different and it becomes your own expression. This is the most important part. It starts to be, it starts to be what it was. No, sorry, it stops to be what it has been and starts to be what you want it to be as an artwork. That's really important and a little bit difficult, but over time you get more experience and you get the flow, you get into that, and then that's like, yeah, it's just experience, right? And also it's a lifelong learning journey, right, to go through that. Hi, Pavel from Germany. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Thanks for matching Autumn Light. You're, yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. I hope you enjoy that. Okay. Let's go on here with the other pictures. Have we looked through that? I can't remember. Oh, we haven't even started this. Look at that. Really cool. There's some really gifted photographers in our group too, so I really enjoy that. Also some very good people for editing and from different kind of backgrounds too. Like, don't think you are like you have to be good at everything, right? Because editing a photo, for example, like this, a macro photo with insects in it, is very different from editing an architecture photo or from editing a wedding photo. Completely different skills, completely different experience. So you can of course do all kinds of things, but if you want to specialize at something, you get a lot deeper with that if you specialize in something, and you don't have to think you need to be good at every kind of thing, right? Or you have to do it like other people are doing it. Do it your own style, right? And do the things you enjoy yourself. Nice picture from Sabine. Really cool. Very nice. All right. So there's a lot of cool pictures. There's one that is more abstract, more minimal. Again, maybe you can do more with that. Either you like it like that, that's good, or maybe you can do more with that with editing. For example, this could be a very interesting shot in black and white, maybe with high contrast to get that gritty structure from the stones, but maybe not. There's another abstract photo. Wow, very detailed actually. Very cool. Nice. Okay, and then you see, like everything can be an interesting photo if you want to. And like I said, often it is kind of good if you create some kind of context, some kind of story, some kind of connection that the viewer can follow. Because this is a nice photo, but it's an earbud. So what is it, what you actually wanted to show here, right? If there would be something, some kind of connection or some other thing that's happening where you can kind of decipher what the idea is, or that gives me kind of a, like I say, experience like that I have when I look at the photo, that is helping often, right? So that could be a thing, right? Think about how you could do that in a certain way, right? Yeah, lots of cool photos. Also, some kind of, there's a bird here, didn't see that. I was like, wow, this is an abstract photo, just some stone slabs, but no, there's a bird here. It's kind of hard to see, of course, because it's the same color, but well, that's probably the idea of the color, to be more camouflaged, right? So pretty cool. All right, let's go on here. Oh, wow. What is that even? Is that a pipe or is it flat? Multi-exposure. Oh, multi-exposure. Oh, that is interesting. So this is the top of a battery made with multiple exposures. So you have these rings that are stacked inside of each other. That is very creative. Wow. I didn't expect that. I thought this is kind of, I don't know, ceramic or any kind of like a tube that you're looking into. Wow, it's a battery from top. I think also because of the color changes you made, it looks more like a piece of ceramic than that aluminium touch from the top of the battery. But very nice, very cool. Okay, I really like that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's some overflowing dough here, so there's a lot of opportunities here for different photos. Oh, there's mine. This I changed a lot. And this, by the way, this I think I edited. I'm somewhat sure I did that in Nik Collection and Photolab, but maybe I did it in Lightroom too. I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure I also edited it in in Photolab, because what I did there is some local adjustments to bring more glow to the wings of the butterfly, and then also to highlight the flower blossoms down here, right? Let's have a look here real quick if we can find that. 1 second. Now there's other contenders basically that I also tried that I also thought about, like this one. This was my second choice, like a really close up. By the way, this is the really amazing thing about that 24x70 from Sigma. You can get so close when you are zoomed out at 24. You can get so close and it's still sharp. You can still focus on the object that the object literally can touch the lens. So as you can see here, the flower, I'm not sure if the flower is touching the lens at that moment, but it could touch the lens and you can still make a sharp photo of the inside of the flower. That is amazing. I don't know much other lenses that can do that. So I'm very, very impressed by that. And you can see here when you zoom in, it actually has some nice crisp detail. Not right now because you can see it's loading, but now you can see here, down here, very nice and sharp. Really, really cool. And it's not even a macro lens. This is the fun part about that. Where is the image? Where is the image? I wanted to take a picture from a butterfly from below. So you can see these are other butterfly photos that I took before, a lot of them. And I just set it to like high speed shooting just to get some shot that is sharp. Sadly, this shot didn't work. Look at that. That's pretty cool. This is a butterfly from below when it's flying, and I think it's upside down. Either it's upside down or I think maybe, no, it's not upside down. Sorry. What is happening here is like the wings are open and they are kind of bent in front of the butterfly. So you can see this part here, this one, that is the left wing. And this part here, this is the right wing on the other side. And here you have the head and this is the body sticking out. So this is the butterfly taking off. Sadly, the picture is not very readable. So this is why I didn't choose it because it's really hard to see what is going on. You actually have to kind of explain what is going on here. Anyway, so this is the picture. And first of all, as you can see here from this one, the picture is not taken upside down. So the butterfly is actually sitting sideways on the photo. And also it's, of course, the light color is different and it's not as dark. This was also at sunset, which is nice. And there, as you can see here, there's a lot of editing here. But in this one, as you can see, it's a little bit different. The wings don't glow quite as much. And also the blossoms here, they are much darker. You do have some local adjustments, but this is the big difference between Lightroom and Photolab is in Lightroom you have these local adjustments, but I think you can't specifically put them on a point. They work a little bit differently. And you don't have as much choices on what you want to adjust, while in Photolab you have a lot more choices for that. Let me show you that real quick. If we find that picture, 1 second. It's a little bit slow for the loading. Let's make this a little bit smaller here. Are we almost there? There we go. So here we have the picture. Let's go to develop here, customize. Does this have the local adjustments in here? Let's click. Oh yeah, it does. So you can see here, I can make these local adjustments and they are just on these flowers. I think there is some way to highlight what they are actually adjusting, but I'm not sure right now what that is. Let me zoom in a little bit more too. Let's go like this. Let's close this. So you can see this is the main adjustment, and then you can simply copy the same adjustments over to these other blossoms, and it's just adjusting the bright part of the blossom, not the dark part of the blossom, which is also nice. And then you have an adjustment here that is just adjusting this lower part of the butterfly. And then let me see, can I move this somehow? Why is it not moving even though there's a hand here? Okay, strange. 1 second. Yeah, there's another adjustment down here. This one. I have to zoom out for that. So this is down here, and this is basically just making that lower left part a little bit darker. And I think also maybe a little bit either desaturated. I'm not quite sure. Let's see. What did I do there? Yeah, I made it darker and I gave it a little bit more contrast. And you see, like, you have all these adjustments that you can do in these areas. Some also from the like advanced tools that Photolab has, like for example Clear View, which is not part of the normal Photolab version. It's part of the elite version of Photolab. It is kind of a, in a certain way, it's like when you use what is it called? The fog removal tool, dehaze. Yeah, dehaze, the dehaze tool, a little bit, but it's more complex than dehaze. And more also smart, because Photolab has some smart tools in here. It also has smart light. I'm not sure if this is in here, smart light. No, it's not in here, but you have it over here as a main adjustment. So that's pretty nice. Anyways, yeah, there's no really comparison to the before photo, but you can see that this is actually the kind of the original shot. This is one earlier with the high-speed photo, so it's basically the same. And this is like turned to the side and then cropped and adjusted with the colors. And you can see also from the colors, the way I adjusted that is that I selected on this kind of teal blue because I wanted to have a higher contrast to the kind of beige tone of the wings and also to the pink tone of the flower. So this is why I decided on that rather than the original tone, which is kind of close, as you can see here. And also looks a little bit boring because it's just like the everyday sky blue. So it's like, yeah, okay, I've seen that before. And this is more, gives kind of a more artistic expression to that, right? Yeah, so pretty interesting. I hope you find that interesting. I do. All right. Yeah, so cool photos. Thank you very much. Wow, that's also a nice picture here. Pretty cool. I like that. Very nice. Another black and white picture here. Are these cages? They are for how do you say? I forgot the name right now. Crabs, I think it's called, right? Very nice. Oop, some messages popping up here. Sorry for that. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff here. Look at that. Also very nice editing. I like these vibrant colors here. The orange to the violet here. Really, really cool. So yeah, very nice. It's also, I find the depth of field here is very pleasing actually, because it doesn't always have to be super sharp. You can see the inside of the flower here is blurry, but actually it's not really a detail I want to see here. It's more this kind of impression, the feeling I get from the photo. And for that these first leaves of the blossom here are sharp and then the rest is blurry is completely okay and has a more of a soft touch to it. It's not as technical, it's not as scientific, but it's more, kind of say, soothing or more, how can I say, nice to look at. Also, I really enjoy that contrast between that kind of bluish gray in the background, kind of a warm gray also. It's very nice. And then you have these warm tones in the foreground, which gives a really nice difference, right? You look more at the flowers and the background is more distracting. And I think this might be a part of the editing. I'm not quite sure. Because over here you can see you have a warmer shadow over here on this side that has either more beige or more green in that. I'm not quite sure. This might be the corner of a house, and this is why we have these different shades of gray here in the background. But if not, you can still see that this cooler gray gives a nicer contrast and a better feeling to the picture rather than this warmer gray here on the left side, where you can see that the flowers are sinking into the background a lot more. And on the right side, where you have the cooler gray, there's a lot more attention on these vibrant, nice, warm flowers. And then you have this cool and kind of monolithic background there. Very nice, really cool. Also very nice bokeh in the background, right? All right. Pretty cool. By the way, ask some questions, use the chat. This is a live stream. You're here to, we are here to talk to each other. Even though I do most of the talking, but please use the chat. All right. Okay. Anyways, wow, also very nice. Macro photography is really cool. By the way, I wanted to do some more mushroom photography. There was a really cool video. By the way, you should absolutely check that out. Let me see if I can find that. I haven't seen that on Netflix yet, but mushroom. This is the video, I think. Yes, this is it. How mushroom time lapses are filmed by Wired. And you have to watch that video. That is so amazing. This guy, he's an expert in filming these time lapses, but also he revolutionized, he invented some other camera techniques throughout his life. So he's very focused on this kind of really interesting shots to create, not just over time, also other things you can do with the camera. You need to see that video. So beautiful, and this guy is so interesting. So please have a look at that. I will copy that into the chat real quick. Mushrooms. There we go. Really inspirational. Very, very cool. Check that out, please. Okay, let's go back here. Man, there's so many stuff popping up. Come on, stop it. There we go. What do we have to look at? There's even more popping out. That's the same thing. Okay, so this is from yesterday, I think. And then we also have to decide on the picture for today. Let's do that next, I think. I've seen it yesterday. Very interesting. Is it a series or is it just one film, that Mushroom Netflix show? I was really thinking about, after I saw that, I was thinking about, oh, maybe I should order one of these things that guide your camera, right? But then they are fairly expensive, of course, and I don't really need it because I'm not really doing stuff like that. But at the same time, it's really cool, right? To have these time lapses where the camera is moved a little bit between each shot, and then, for example, you have like a, I don't know, maybe a house is built or something, and you photograph it over a whole month or so, and the camera is just moved slightly over to the side. Could be pretty cool. I'm probably not going to do it, but still, it's really interesting. Also part of photography in a certain sense. Yeah, he's not doing it in the woods. By the way, a lot of nature films are also not filmed in nature because it's just too complex. Why would you wait for, I don't know, that insect to show up or do that specific thing you want, and then it has to be the right time of day for the sunlight and the right weather, and everything has to be perfect? They just do it in the studio, and then they put some screens in the background so it looks like nature, right? It's much easier. A lot of that stuff is kind of fake. All right, so we have another really cool collection of pictures here. Wow, also very nice. Oh, there's even people on there. Look at that. Wow, that is impressive. Pretty cool. By the way, if you look at that picture, it's a very cool photo. And you see these, when you look a little bit closer, you see that there's two people on there. But if you would do the same photo and make it in black and white, and then maybe make the background brighter, because in black and white you can decide on the brightness of the different colors, basically, you would probably see these people a lot better, and you could make the photo more about the people. So it really, editing and adjusting your photo also sets different purposes for the picture, and different, how can I say, viewpoints, different ways to guide the eye, different things are pointed out in the picture depending on how you edit the photo. So keep that also in mind. A photo is not just a picture and then you add some color to it in a different way. The editing defines what you look at in the photo. Wow. Okay, here we have the opposite example where we have a nice black and white edit, but maybe not the best idea to make this black and white, because you probably can't see that, but there is a bird sitting here, right there in the middle of the picture, looking at the camera. I'm kind of sure that the bird is brown and the leaves are green, so that would have given a really nice contrast. But now that everything is black and white, and also not adjusted in the brightness of the different black and white elements, you don't really see that bird, right? So you want to think about that and do it differently. By the way, let me quickly go to Unsplash and find a picture of a bird real quick, or any kind of other picture it could be. Let's see. Let's take this guy here. That's good enough. I will just copy that. We don't need high resolution right now. Let's go in Affinity Photo. And Affinity Photo, by the way, it has some super benefits. You will also see in a second when I show you this other photo. This is, of course, opening up on my second screen. Sorry for that. I have to push this over here. Let's go like this. So when you have a black and white adjustment like this one here, which is different than desaturation, you of course have all these sliders here. And as you can see, these sliders define how bright or dark a color will be in the black and white version. And you can use that to point out or hide different elements in the picture. So for example, you can see here, I can make the head of the bird completely dark, or I can make it at least a little darker gray, like so. And so like this, because you can see the background is not changing, I can give this part of the bird a higher contrast to the background if I want. I guess the background is kind of blue. Yeah, so you can see when I push this up, this makes the background kind of white now, and then we have this darker gray foreground. So now I have already a bigger difference between the bird and the background. Not saying that this is how you should do it, because I put it a little bit too extreme. You want to have some softer values in here. But as you can see, also this value, you can see here, I can also remove this part here, and suddenly the bird is pretty much in the foreground and is standing out against the background, rather compared to what we had before with just desaturation, right? So in black and white, you have a lot of choices of what you want to do with the picture. All right, let's go on here. Go back here. We can close that. Right. Okay, so think about that when you adjust black and white pictures. Oh, very nice with that drop here and this kind of hydrophobic, how do you say, little hairs on the top of the leaf, so it can sit there like a water balloon, basically. Very cool. Oh no, I closed it. 1 second. Reopen that. There we go. Oh no, wait a second. Huh? Oh, I was confused for a second. All right. We should go into editing in a second, right? I'm talking too much about too many things, but we are not editing anything. Very nice mushroom picture here. I think you could do a bit more with editing here to bring out the different values, make it more interesting. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. Pretty cool. Interesting. Huh. Very nice. Long time exposure. Pretty cool. I enjoy that. I also like the violet here. How this orange is floating into basically a violet on the outside. Very, very nice. Oh, wow. Another black and white picture. This time a kind of a floating head in the dark. Very interesting. So this is more abstract, and you just like carved out basically the highlights. Interesting. Also a pretty interesting style. Oh, there we have a nice reflection. Is this an actual reflection, or is this done in Affinity Photo afterwards? I think it's an actual reflection, especially also because this down here is a bit skewed and blurred. If it is an actual reflection, how do you get it so clean without any dust on that? Or did you remove the dust afterwards? I think with my home, with my cats, I'm not sure I could remove all of the dust. There's always some dust with cats, and some hairs, of course. All right. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Ooh. Oh, cute. Okay. Very nice. Wow. Nice sunset here. I can't oh, there's my picture. Oh yeah, this is the picture where actually Affinity Photo is better for that than the other software tools. And the reason for that is really interesting. When you look into Lightroom, you have these local adjustments in the developer persona here. They also have kind of developer persona, developer area. You have this brush here, but you can only brush on. So either I'm missing something or there is no way to just select a box area or a circle area. You can do a gradient and stuff, and you can do a radial filter. What is a radial filter? But I didn't find any way to make just a box of what I want to adjust. And the interesting thing here is we have to look at the library again. So I took a lot of pictures. You can see here different perspectives of that house again, because that is actually a pretty cool house. Very strange architecture here. And I thought I wanted to do something with that and do it in black and white and do some different layers on there. I have a very cool tutorial on how to do that and guide the light on the surface of a building in black and white and have this turn it basically into a sculpture. Wait a second. Let me see that here real quick. You should watch that. It's really interesting. I should do another of those videos. Architecture, there we go. This one, I love this video. This is inspired by another video from another channel. I think I linked that down here. Yeah, this one, Ben Harvey, he made a really cool video for Photoshop talking about that. It really inspired me. It was really cool. And then I made this video here where I show you how to adjust that image in that way. You see here, and this is basically putting different gradients on different parts of the image, so you guide where it is dark, where it is bright, and this shapes the surface of the building and makes it into something really interesting and amazing, rather than just turning it black and white and turning up and down different color values as I just showed you. This is creating some fake light, of course, but that's completely okay, because in this case it's more of an artistic photography, right? By the way, some people were upset that the background has these kind of blurred clouds, and then in the reflections they are not blurred. I'm okay with that. The reason is because, again, this is an artistic edit, and this makes it a lot more dystopian if you have this contrast also between the time flying in the background and the time standing in the foreground on that building. I find that cool. Why not? Okay, I will link that here. Check that out. It's really very cool. Fine art, architecture, photography. There we go. This is the video. All right, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, this picture here. So I want to show you the original picture first. Like I said, I took a lot of pictures, a lot of different ideas, also kind of some photos of trash and stuff. Yeah, you just walk around, you try to figure out, what could I do? What could be an interesting motive? And then on the way home, interestingly enough, again, the last photo I took at that day. Now look at this. This is really interesting. This is the actual photo here. And as you can see, this is not a head-on shot. This is not parallel to the building. So I had to adjust the perspective, which, by the way, Nik Collection has a very good tool for perspective adjustment. And this is why I got this very nice flat-looking surface. It actually looks like it's photographed from the side. The only thing that is actually giving it away that this was really bent into that shape for the perspective is that the ceiling light here is so low on the side. So of course the inside of the room can't be changed in perspective, only the complete building, and this is kind of giving it away. But this could also be like a light sitting on a desk, right? So that's still okay. But also, story-wise, when you look at this picture, you can see actually there is two windows that have the light on. This one down here and this one up here. And I was playing around with that and thought, yeah, maybe both or something like that. But I think, no, I just want to have one of those in light. And I also want to change the color again to this blue hour kind of light, or night light, night blue light, not this kind of light. Also, the reason for that is, again, that I wanted to separate the surface of the building from the warm inside of the window, right? And so when you look at this picture, there's a lot more difference between these elements of the surface, and then the inside, or not the inside of the room, but the light is coming out of the room, right? So there's a lot of changes, and and this is what I did in Affinity Photo, because it's easy to select these areas. There is simply select these two windows, the insides of the windows, paint a little bit around on the frame of the window, and then turn it down with curves and desaturate it, and boom, you have a dark window. And I think I also added a little bit of blue to that afterwards in the adjustments, so it has the same kind of blue reflection you get from the sky, like in these other pictures, or from this kind of blue hour look, right? Use clone tool to move it up. Oh, you mean with the window? I was thinking about just cloning another window, but I thought it's just more fun, it's more interesting to turn down the light on that window. And also then you have an actual different window, and it's not just a copy of another window, because you would kind of see in the dirt on the window and other elements that it is a copy of a window. It's not that many windows here. And here you can see there is just these little elements and fragments in here on the window that tells you this is actually a different one. So that's very nice. Anyways, so you can see there's also drastic change in here. So yeah, take the shot and then imagine what you can do with that afterwards. That's a really important part. Also, as you can see, it was already pretty dark at that moment. And I also took this photo darker than I could have. You see, this is the first shot. But in this shot, I looked at it at the camera, and the light wasn't coming in a nice enough way through these, how do you say, window curtain? Maybe, I don't know, is that the window curtain? It didn't look nice enough. I wanted to have more of that. And so this is why I decided to photograph it a lot darker, like you can see here in this shot. And here you can see a lot nicer light structure coming out of the window. Also down here. It's just more interesting. And then for the editing, you can do it anyways, because also this is all of these are raw photos where you have a lot more leeway in what you can edit with that. Whew! Oh, my throat is aching a little bit. Too much talking today. Say something too in the chat. Come on. This is what it's there for. There we go. Oh no, now I made the chat as big as the window. There we go. Oh my God. Okay. Use the chat. Write something. How are you doing? How was your day? What kind of photo project do you want to do tomorrow? Tell me some stuff or ask me something. Anyways, so these are the pictures I've taken today. This, like old doors, basically, we can look at that. Then I have this, again, surface of a house where this stuff here is running down. What else do we have? This one, a little bit from the side. This one, nah, not so interesting. These, I think, are very interesting with these just like peeling off alt posters. That could be nice if we edit that in a nice way. And then I also found this house here with this kind of ivy growing on the sides. Wow, this is a bit blurry, so that's not the one we should take. Let's see. Maybe this one. This one? This could be nice. I'm not sure. I wanted to go further over there. Oh, wow, this is dark. I wanted to go further over here to photograph the window from the front, but that was not possible at that time. So that didn't work out. I think I'm going to use Photolab to edit that. Can't say much because I have no clue about photography, and my mind is blowing up at the moment of all the stuff. Really? Is it? Okay. Okay, that's good. I hope blowing up in a positive way. Yeah, this is the major thing that I'm always doing wrong. I'm talking too much to you rather than with you. I still have to find a way to change that. Okay, let's see. Let's go here to the photo library. Look at the pictures down here. 1 second. So here's that. Now I can also show you, let me see. Which one should we take of these two? Let's see. Should we take this, or should we take the posters that are hanging from the wall? That could also be nice as a photo. Maybe cropping it a little bit more, just a detail of that, doesn't have to be all of that. That could be interesting. While you decide, I want to show you that Smart Light function in PhotoLab, because that's really nice. So let's go to Customize here. We can move that down so we see more of the picture. We can close this. And you can see here you have one that is called Smart Light. And when you move that slider, this is not just making the picture brighter, it is making the picture brighter in a smart way. So you can see it mainly affects the darker areas, but also in a way that is sensible. It's not just pushing up the darker areas. So that's the important part here, because when we turn this off, and then I go, for example, here to exposure, you can see that then when you use exposure, up here everything is overexposed, and down here even the shadows are getting bright. So that's a completely different thing compared to Smart Light, where you can see I push this up, and then these areas down here get brighter, the shadows stay in a nice sensible way, and up here the highlights are staying good too. So this is taking a lot of work out of your hands, and you can get a nice picture at the same time. The posters, please. As a black and white version. Yeah, that sounds good. We can do that. We can also, oh, that is good. That's a good idea. Let's do the posters, and we do a black and white version in Nik Collection. Then we can also look at these kind of effects. And I think we can do some really interesting abstract edit here. So let's have a look at that. Just choose one of those. Let's see, what do we have here? So we have this here. Let's have a look also how sharp they are. Yeah, fairly sharp. This is a bit from the side. This could be nice. Yeah, it's also fairly sharp. It was already rather dark. This could be interesting. It's also fairly sharp. I think I also used 2.8. I'm not sure. Or did I use 4? I'm not quite sure. So maybe this one. But I think if we do it black and white, we probably need a little bit more structure. Maybe this one here. I mean, that structure down here is also interesting. Let me see. Let's go to Customize. And then we have this tool here, which is also very nice, Horizon tool. I just make these lines here, you see. I guide them where I want to have them, for example, down here, here and there. And then you can apply that, and this is automatically then adjusting it for you and even cropping it a little bit. So that's very nice. And then we can also crop into that on our own if we want to. Should we do 1:1 ratio again, like this? This could actually be nice with these 3 areas here. Or we crop it more and we only have 2 areas like so. This is actually better. I already like this. With this plant in the lower part too. Yeah, it's nice. It's not too bad. Okay, cool. Let's just fly with that. It's pretty cool. Should we do some more adjustments here? Let's look at Smart Light here, maybe a little bit. This is clear view, by the way. You can see if you use clear view, you get these a lot more details in there. It looks a little bit like it's dehazing, but it's doing more than that. Yeah, let's go like this. Okay, cool. So we already have that. That's very nice. And then we go in here, Nik Collection, which is basically hardwired, or like basically with a button built into PhotoLab. It's a different software though. Or maybe I'm doing it wrong. What are you saying? Doing what wrong? Masking in PhotoLab is somewhat hard. They make a lot noise about viewpoint, but when you put one to limit its influence on neighboring areas, you have to put a lot of negative points. It's very complex. Kind of, yes. Yeah, it's not as good as Viveza that you have down here. I think Viveza is more precise than these points on the area you're defining, but you're right. And sometimes you also have to work with small points and then just make a lot of these small points. It would be good if it has a kind of an adjustment for the range that you want to address with that. You say just that brightness range, or maybe be a little bit softer, have neighboring ranges of that brightness too in there. Okay, let's go here to, I would say, analog effects like that. And this takes a little bit because it makes a copy as a TIFF. So this is not adjusting the original raw file, but rather making a TIFF copy of that first. There we go. Has already creating that. Oh God, must update that. Okay, cool. Right. And so now here comes the cool thing. You go over here and you have this selection of different cameras from different eras or different purposes. You have classic camera, black and white, color cast, motion, wet blade, subtile bokeh, double exposure, toy camera, vintage camera, multi-lens, and en vogue. And some of them are a little bit goofy, so not all of them are as amazing as they sound. But the cool thing is they simulate different, like for example with classic camera, they simulate different cameras in different epochs, basically, or time areas, time zones. How do you say it? It's different ages of photography, right? If you look through them, you get this kind of feeling of remembering, oh yeah, that was that time, right? So this, for example, maybe could be 80s camera with negative film, stuff like that. This is a bit different here. This is before that, I would say. So there is different kind of styles in here, and I really enjoy that you get these kind of choices. Just as a starting point, you can still do a lot of adjustments over here, but just by clicking through them, you get so many different inspirations. And you could do that in other software, but it's really hard to come up with that. It's really hard to know how that works. By the way, this is also cool. This is also the reason why this pack that I have created with these black and white style is so nice, because I have already built similar styles for Affinity Photo and show you how I do that with the adjustment layers and what a kind of overlays I'm using for that to create these kind of looks. So you get a good starting point, and at the same time you get the inspiration to have these classic looks in there from different kind of times and different kind of tech cameras, different kind of developments, different kind of papers that it's developed on. So that's really interesting, right? Wet plate is something I really like here. You get these old styles here. Look at that. We have to wait a little bit. Wow. And you see here this kind of dirt and grit that is on here. And you can also change that. They don't have a super big selection of that. This, I don't know, maybe they sell... I don't think they sell additional overlays here, but I think they should. That would be rather cool if they would do that. That you have more choice here. The choices you have are already pretty cool. You can see you can do a lot of them. And there's also a little bit more choice in here. Like you have streaked and you have corroded, which looks like this. And then you also have concrete, which basically is a concrete texture you can put on there. But you can see how these are these classic styles that you know from books, you know. What is that classic photograph I'm thinking about right now? Walker Evans, for example. I think this looks a little bit like that old schooly type of the pictures that he has been taking. So you can do a lot of things with very little effort here. That's pretty cool, and have kind of get into these artistic expressions and also find out about what is your style. What kind of thing do you actually want to do? Look at that. Again, very cool. Is a bit of tinted black and white, so there's a lot of different styles in here. This one looks more modern, but at the same time you have this kind of wet plate effect in the sense of that you have this kind of grit and distortion here on the sides, and also the blur from these old, basically crappy lenses, so to speak, that only can focus in the center. So There's a lot of interesting ideas in here. Again, you can also adjust it. You can, for example, turn off or on the vignette and all these kind of things. You can also choose different film types and all these kind of things, right? This is, again, apparently a little bit tinted. You see, this is a bit more blue tinted. This is a little bit more violet tinted. So you can do a lot of different things with that. 150 euros is quite expensive. I don't think so. I really don't think it's that expensive. Like, it's more expensive than Affinity Photo is, that's true. But Nik Collection is a collection of a lot of tools that are very specific and very professional. And at the same time, it's a one-time price. So you don't have, they do updates every year, I think, but you don't have to buy them. Sometimes they only make little changes and you have to shell out another $100. So I think for a long time investment, basically, that's a really good starting point, and it offers a ton of really, really cool tools. This is more playful, more artistic, but things like the perspective adjustment, the sharpening tool, the Viveza tool for adjusting the light in different areas, all of them are very, very powerful to use with photos and save a lot of time too. So I don't think it's that expensive, actually. Like, if you use it for a couple of years, the price is basically coming down if you split it over these years, right? So it depends on what you want to do. But if you think about the time you save and the creativity you add to your workflow, it's maybe worth it, but you have to decide for yourself, of course. Wow. Okay, pretty cool. A little bit too much sharpness, blurriness around the edges, I think. So up here, we have this area for bokeh, and you can see I can change that. I also can change the area. You can see here, all of this is rather intuitive. Just grab these really big. And this is, by the way, this is a nice interface too. You see, they have these big handles here, not these tiny ones that you have in other software tools. They are big, they are blue, they are easy to see. You understand what they are doing. So I like that. You know, it's easier to adjust that. Very cool. So just like that, we have adjusted that style a little bit. It's pretty cool. Nik Collection does work in Affinity Photo too. Yes, you can use it as a plugin. I would always suggest that you make a copy of the photo or make a merge visible and then adjust that layer, because it only adjusts one layer. That is the picture layer, not all of the layers, of course. And it's a destructive method, so this is why I would make a copy beforehand, and then you can make different variations of the same picture in a nice way. This is, by the way, this is something that I really miss in Nik Collection, is an export button inside of the Nik Collection tool. Like you can see here, I'm right here in analog effects right now, and it says save. So I can save that and it will do that, but I want to have an export button so I can stay editing and just create different versions of the same one. Just make a copy, maybe even make a virtual copy or export another TIFF file, something like that. But don't let me save this and then open it up again and go through the whole process again. That is just too slow, right? So it has some downsides. Let's see here. Ooh, so this retains a little bit of the color. I don't like the edge here. That is a little bit too much. So you see, it's adding a lot of different stuff to the pictures if you want to. Basic adjustment photo plate. Is that the photo plate? Oh, this is actually the photo plate. Okay, that's interesting. Dirt and scratches. Oh, this is also something you have. You have individually dirt and scratches here. So you can see I can add this, and suddenly we have a lot more dirt in here. And you can also set the dirt to be bright or to be dark. I'm not sure how do you do it. Ah, yeah, there you see. You go from the strength to plus 100 or minus 100. So this is either white or black or something in between. So that's also very interesting. Yeah, it has a lot of potential. Let's see. I'm happy with it, but I'm not a pro, just an amateur. Yeah, I think everybody's an amateur. Everybody's just learning throughout their lives. This is, by the way, this is another thing that is really interesting. When you look at other photographers and at their lifetime and their achievement and what they did over time, you will see that they took thousands upon thousands of pictures, and most of them are not that great. And then they have some really, really iconic pictures that everybody knows, and this is why they are famous. And of course, in between, they did a lot of commercial work that was not that artistic, maybe high standards still, but not like iconic work. So it's completely normal. I think everybody's an amateur and everybody is on the learning curve. Everybody is just like in the process of still getting better, finding new ways. By the way, when you look at, what is her name again? Sorry, I can't remember right now. My brain is not working right now. Photographers. Any is it Leibovitz or is it Leibovitz? I'm not sure. Anyways, she is apparently like one of the most, she's very famous as a photographer, and you know a lot of her photos, of course, but she is, according to one video I've seen, one of the most influential photographers of today. So that's very interesting. I'm trying to find a picture that you probably know from her. Wait a second. This one. I'm pretty sure you've all seen this picture from Whoopi Goldberg. That is from her. And Annie Leibovitz, I don't know. So this one, very famous. Then, of course, from John Lennon. This picture is also one of hers. Amazing, right? So she did some really, really iconic work. But then if you look at the overall work of her, there's a lot of stuff in there where you're like, yeah, okay. Nice, but like, it doesn't like blow me away, which of course is normal. Everybody does that. Everybody has to do that because you have to like build your masterworks on some foundation, right? And that foundation is just working through all the process until you get back to a really good work, right? So yeah, but what I really enjoy about her when you look at her work over time is how often and how extremely her style has changed over time, right? So for example, she also makes these kind of fairy tale photos here, which is completely different. You wouldn't expect that at all. Kind of this Disney princess stuff suddenly, and these kind of things here is so different from the other pictures I've just have shown you. You would think these are completely different photographers, but it's just like her journey through photography and just trying out different things. So that's also interesting, that you always try to stay interested and try to go into different directions, stuff like that. Remove the comment? What do you mean? The free, yeah, there's an old free version. Do they still have that, the free version? I'm not sure. It's fairly similar to what they have today. It's not as stable anymore, but it's basically the same kind of thing. They added some new tricks to that. Like, for example, the perspective tool is not there in the old version. Anyways, let's play around with this a little bit more. By the way, we can look at this double exposure thing. Probably not right for this subject here, but you can see here that this is creating multiple exposures from the same picture. And you can see you can also move them around. So you see, like here we have this kind of twirl effect in here. And then here we have something else. I'm not sure. Oh, this is, okay, this is the copy of the picture. And then they put a twirl effect on there. And you can just simply untwirl that a little bit like so. And then you have more of the original picture in here. It's not one of my favorites in here, but you can do, if you like these kind of double exposure things, you can do some artistic ideas with that, right? And like I said, it's not ideal for this subject here, but yeah, you can play around with that. What else do we want to look at? Black and white. Where is the more modern style? Let's go to En Vogue. This is more like a little bit of, oh, wow. It's also nice. Very, very dark and contrast and gritty. Also interesting. Nice, but you can see the difference here. Like this is equally gritty, but you can see that the dark values are now gray. So this is a little bit softer and has another touch. You see here, the dark values, like here, for example, in here, that is completely black. And when you look at that, these are like it has a lower contrast and the dark values are brought up. I think even the bright values are brought down. Let's see here. Yeah, this is, I think this is brighter here. And here it's a little bit darker and also has less texture in here. So very nice, very interesting. This is also interesting, this kind of style where you have these very old kind of photos on this kind of beige paper. My brain is stopping to work. What is it called? Sepia kind of paper. And where it's just kind of shining through. It looks a lot more like a drawing. I think you also have this with these old wet plate cameras, that there's one style or even multiple styles that are like that. Maybe with the classic camera? No, I can't find it right now. Vintage camera. No. Okay. Strange. I don't know where it is. It's not in here. Oh, that might be from Silver Versa. Another plugin. We can also look at that if you want to. But maybe let's decide on something we want to do here. I think, yeah, well, this is not so great. Well, I thought a little bit of color might be nice, but let's play around with this a little bit. I was talking too much and thinking too little about what I want to actually do with that. That is kind of nice here. What is the chat saying? You couldn't pump up the RGB in the image. What do you mean by that? Like make it more saturated? Is that what you mean by that? Okay, interesting. Let me close this real quick, and then let's have a look at how this would look with Silver Effects Pro, which is in the past it was called Silver Versa, and now it's called Silver Effects Pro. And this is just for, like the one that I showed you right now that was for analog cameras, and this one is just for black and white styles. And this is where you have these different kind of like classic ones, as you can see here, these kind of choices, and more modern styles in black and white. And you have these vintage styles also. And this is what I meant, this one here. This is actually very nice, and it looks more like a drawing and kind of these very early black and white photographs that also try to imitate art a lot more, in the sense of classic drawing, classic painting kind of art, right? Also with the style that was used back then. I actually really like that here because it's focusing more on the center part. The plant is coming in a little bit from the lower end here, but at the same time it is like more contrasting to the back because this kind of ribbon pattern here is kind of fading into the background. So that could be a nice way to do that. Also in here they have these kind of different frames, as you can see here, and you can adjust them very easily. Like when you go over here to 1 second, where is that? Burnt edges? No. Vignette? No. Image border down here. You see you have different image border types that you can apply to that. You see, like for example, this is a different one. And then I can say the size, and the size is how far away it is from the border, which is pretty ingenious to do that. And you can see even when you move that is actually changing in the structure depending on how far it is from the edge. So this is actually very smart. You also have a spread on how big the inside is, how much this is reaching into the picture. And you can have how clean it is. You can see this is a lot cleaner now, and this is a lot rougher. So they put a lot of very interesting thoughts into that. Looks like vintage poses. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They try to simulate actual vintage old school styles as they have looked in that period of time. This is the really cool thing that you can do with these effects here. And again, here you can see, for example, with the film type, and this is special to Silver Versa, Silver Effects Pro, that you actually have brand films here. You can see we have Agfa, you have Fuji, Kodak is in here, and other Ilford is in here, which is a famous black and white movie, analog film producer. So, and some other stuff I've never heard of, Bragger and Foma Pen. So different simulations of different analog films. Right now we can't see too much of that because I'm in this very contrasted version. Let's go here to a modern version, like this one, for example. Let's go to this one. I can see now, if I change the film, you can see a lot more impact. You see, not only on the contrast, but also how colors are picked up. So look, for example, at this area over here. Maybe you can zoom in a little bit. 1 second. Look at this area over here. When I switch through the film, you can see that here in this film, which is a Rolei Retro 100, this area is dark. And then when I have this Kodak T-Max, it's brighter. And when I have the Ilford FP4 Plus, it's even brighter. You don't even see that there is anything there. So you can see how much of a difference that makes. And of course here, maybe that's not as important because we just have some posters hanging from a wall like trash. But if you have a portrait shot, for example, from a model or stuff like that, you can see and hide and pronounce different areas of that shot and get a completely different kind of look for the photo. So that's really, really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I should work a lot more with that, to be honest. A lot more than I do. So let's make a look here. Ilford, that is pretty nice. Let's edit that, export it, and then how long do I stream? Oh, we have like 10 more minutes, so we can do this edit in 10 minutes. Let's do that. Let's see. That is also nice. Oh, there's a Polaroid in here also. Polaroid 672. And there's such... We live in such a luxurious time, right? That you can take a photo and afterwards you decide what kind of film it should be on, and you get the looks of these films. Ilford Pen 400. Let's use that. That looks nice. It has a little bit of a nice, soft, and a little bit warm looking touch actually, although it's black and white. Okay, so we have adjusted that. We can adjust the grain here, the softness also. So even though you have selected the film, you can still adjust. So for example, here for the sensitivities, for the colors, you could readjust it if you wanted to. And also you can see here the curve adjustment for that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's see, finishing adjustments. What is this doing? Oh yeah, vignette. Do we want a vignette? Maybe, yeah, maybe a little bit, so we have a little bit more center focus. Or should we have an inverted vignette? So the edges are getting brighter. That could also be interesting for this shot. We could try it like this. Let's see the size. So bright vignette or dark vignette? I'm a huge fan of dark vignettes, as you know. But often I'm going a bit too dark with my images. So maybe a bright vignette would be nice for this one. Maybe not too bright. But this, for example, is kind of cool. It looks a little bit strange, though. I'm not 100% a friend of bright vignettes. We can do burnt edges. Oh, in that sense, we could actually do both, maybe. If we have burnt edges on all sides, and then we have a bright vignette. Does that make sense? Yeah, maybe like this is interesting. We can also adjust the strength here. Oh, this is just a strength for one side. Oh, okay, 1 second. In that sense, I think let's make this up here a little bit darker, and then maybe on the lower part a little bit less. Wow, this is giving a lot of control. And this is also the important part here, that the interesting part is that these sliders and all these settings, they are made specifically for these kind of artistic effects, right? So you don't have to have this kind of abstract thinking like you would have, for example, in software like Affinity Photo, where you have to go through a lot of different setups and masks and adjustments and all these kind of things to get that look. These sliders and effects are made specifically. So for example, in this case, I adjusted different kinds of burnt borders that this software is providing for me. So that's very interesting to have that. Let's see up here, global adjustments, so overall brightness, highlight, midtones, shadows, dynamic brightness. Yeah, let's bring it down a little bit. Contrast the structure. I'm actually happy with the structure. Oh, we also have selective adjustments if you want to do that. So that's nice. But what I want to have is a little bit of a tint. There's the toning. You can see here, finishing adjustment, the toning. Again, a ton of settings in here that you can use. And also different setups that are specific for classic black and white films, right? So it's not just any kind of colors you get here. You see? So you have this kind of a silvery kind of blue touch in here, different kind of values of that. And then you have these kind of sepia tones here, but they are all specific to these kind of areas, not areas, ages of photography, basically, right? Wow. You can also, I think you can adjust also the paper type below that. I think there's kind of a little bit like selenium blue here. A faint touch of that would be good. So let's use that one. All right. I kind of think like that's it. Are you happy with that, or is that maybe that's a little bit too much? Should we keep it just neutral black and white? Let's see. Let's have this toning, but very, very slight. Like so. Okay. Should we do anything else here? Do you want to have some like blur maybe? We could try that. If I find that. Levels, curves. This is the film type. Global adjustments? No. So we have the toning, we have the vignette, we have the burnt edges, image borders. We don't have them on. Loop. No, this is a loop and a histogram also. Is there no blur here? I thought there was one. Maybe that's in the other plugin. Okay, no matter. That's good enough. I'm happy with that. Let's leave it like that. We could add some blur afterwards if we want to in the other adjustment. But I think this is kind of good. I still think like the vignette should be dark, but let's keep it bright. That's good. Oh, by the way, I'm not seeing the chat. I'm sorry for that. If you don't know the original picture, I would not recognize what this picture is about. Really? You don't see that these are old posters hanging from the wall? Is it that abstract? I mean, it's also good if it's that abstract. No, let's leave it like that. Yeah, let's leave it like that. That's good enough. There we go. So this is our adjustment. And this basically here, this is the original picture here, unadjusted, but just cropped basically. And this is the edited version. The original is actually also very nice. Should we blend them? We could do that. So let's export these two. 1 second. File, export on disk. JPEG, yes. 90%, yes. Downloads, yes. Okay, cool. Let's export these two real quick. Is there an indicator? Oh yeah, down here's an indicator. So we're almost done. We're a little bit over 2 hours, so we actually, yeah. Dark is better. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Okay. Okay, it's done. Good. Let's go in here. Open that up for the last step. This is for my course. We don't want to see that. Whoops, sorry. There we go. Open that up. And then I will simply copy this over to the other photo here. And then let's make this transparent. Should I maybe do it the other way around? Or should I blend that? Let's see. Oh, it's also nice. Oh, we can go here for just the hue. Oh no, that's not working here. Just the color. No, I think if we add color, it's not as good anymore. It's kind of taking away from this kind of black and white experience. Or maybe when we have it, 1 second. Let me create something real quick here. Let's have this donut shape here. And then I will create an HSL adjustment and have this mask to below. Push this in here. And then desaturate that. And then we want to blur that. Okay, so now you can see I'm using the donut shape as a mask that makes the HSL adjustment with desaturation just on the outer sides, so that the picture has color in the middle, but not on the outside, right? So we only have a little bit of color here in the middle. We can actually make this even a little bit smaller. 1 second. Bring this in here a bit more. Actually, we don't have to do it like that. We can use our adjustment here for the whole radius. There we go. Bring this in a little bit. Like so. Then maybe make this a bit of an ellipse shape, like so. And there we go. We have a bit of color just in the middle part, and the rest is black and white. Yeah, I'm happy. Okay, let's export this. Export. Zack. And then I will just export it here. Adjust. AP. Adjust. And then I will move it later on after I've posted it on Facebook. All right. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little tour through different editing devices. Yeah. That was really nice, and I really enjoy that you take part so actively in our September of Photography challenge. It's running the full month, so you still have time. Today is only the 5th day of that, so you still have weeks where you can take photos, and please take me up on that offer. Even if you don't want to post it on Facebook, maybe you're a little bit shy about it or something like that, but still take the full month to use your camera, even if you are on a walk out with your dog or you walk to your fitness studio, to your work, stuff like that. Just pull out your smartphone and take some pictures and look around you a little bit if you see some nice situations, some little stories that are happening, stuff like that. Maybe someone has lost his shoe. Maybe, I don't know, there is something else happening. You find a little love note on the floor or some other thing. I don't know. There's so many stories in there, like I've seen with just a light that is going on at night in a window. Everything can be interesting as a photo. Just experiment with that and see where it takes you. And just taking photos every day is a really good experience in just getting better, understanding yourself better, getting to know your camera better, and playing around with photo editing and see where it can drive. So you can do all kind of goofy stuff with photo editing and artistic stuff or any kind of thing you want to do. And this will really bring you along the journey a lot, because the most important part about getting better is the exercise. The knowledge is really important. It's maybe 10%, maybe 20% of the experience is the knowledge, and the rest is all experience. And this experience is building up over time, or at least shaping you over time all of your life. So you basically should keep doing that. And of course, do it in a way that is fun for you. Woo, all right. Wow. 2 hours talking. My throat is hurting. All right. Thank you very much. And see you in my next live stream. Bye.